We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us on the Monday, and our guest with us this morning is Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall. Nice to have you as always.
Happy to be here.
We've got some phone lines open. We've got some folks that are calling, want to talk to you. Let's get to them from now until 9 when he's with us. And we'll start things off. He got in first, and it'll be Joe. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Just a couple of comments here. Well, the sheriff, questions, I guess, really is how the new jail is going, and I see where they finally announced that I guess the headquarters for the police department is going to move out on Murfreesboro Road. So that's a good thing. Give you some room down there to operate. And the police and sheriffs and all law enforcement are under attack from it's a lot of drug activity, mental illness, and just terrorists in general. So, you know, it's troublesome to me that this is going on. I mean, every week we're getting to see now where there's at least 1, 2, 3 officers getting killed. I know last week, best I can remember, there's 3 or 4. I think 2 got shot down in Mississippi, and a couple up in New York and other places. So anybody that's in law enforcement, even people like you that's really not bothering anybody doing anything wrong, you got a lot of mental cases out there and a lot of drug people out there. And regardless of what people think, drugs are a tremendous problem in the United States. And people on drugs will do crazy things. So it's hard to, distinguish. And that's about all I can say about it. It's troublesome.
Hey, thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Well, that's true. You want to update him on the jail?
Yeah, Joe's so informed on all this stuff. He keeps you on your toes. Joe, the new jail is going to be downtown, right across the road here, or a new jail. There is a contract awarded. It's very early in that process, but my thought is somewhere late summer, maybe this summer. This building would be vacated and then eventually demoed, and then we would see over the next 3 years or so.
So we're going to demolish the existing jail. Yeah. It's not going to be where you guys are going to go in and clean out the guts and rebuild from that. It's pretty much been decided. I mean, that's going to be some cool video too. Yeah. We'll get it on Skycam, and we'll have Sky 5 up there, and then it's just going to. Yeah, those guys have to know what they're doing, because if they don't make it implode in on itself, the station's not that far from there, and if any rocks from this thing coming down hit my car in the back, you're going to be getting a bill. Okay, just leave that at that.
You know what? There are some things I worry about, but your car is never one of them. Or it really has nothing to do with worrying about you. There are a lot of things to worry about.
Not just my car, my friend.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, let's just make sure that thing implodes, because there's a lot of stuff around the jail.
Yeah, I have a lot of worries about emptying a jail full of 800 people who.
Where are you going to put them?
Yeah, we're going to spread them out.
Not over here, pal. Not over here.
I'll send some home with you for the weekend. See how well you can manage your garage.
How many inmates are there?
1,800 today.
So when this time comes, they're going to have to be moved, or could you leave a few that you don't like in there for when it comes down? No? Okay, so you'll remove them all, and then they'll have to be at maybe the facility out there in Harding?
Right. We'll spread them out and then implode this building and demo it and rebuild 3.5 years or so on the property, and then probably 4 years from now would be back in the building and operating the way it's supposed to. So for the next 3 or 4 years, it's going to be a really difficult time and a lot of just inconvenient. We book every prisoner in that building. We're going to have to take all those functions in a different location and rebook everybody, and it'll be a different world for the next 3 to 4 years. And the mayor and her staff, we've been working with them. Really, it's going to be their project as it relates to how they want all that to go. And and I'm hopeful that we get our 2 cents in as to how we need things done.
Yeah.
But
you mean on the design and things?
Yeah, it's coming through that part. And again, I think I met with the mayor several times, and I think I think that's where it's going to end up as it relates to the project, and she's taking a very active role in this kind of stuff, and so we'll see how it turns out.
How much money is it? What's the price tag?
It'll be $150 million when it's all over with, probably.
Wow. All right, let's go to Paul. Paul, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nick. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Paul.
Hey, a quick comment and a couple of questions for you, Sheriff. I seen you on Facebook last week where you was giving speech or something at Sheriff Long's down in Williamson County.
Oh, yeah?
I seen you on there, buddy, and I want to tell you, Sheriff Long's a good friend of mine too, buddy. He's a fine fella.
He's a good guy. Really, my parents live out that way, and he's a good sheriff. He does a great job.
Isn't he a good guy? I like him.
He's a great guy.
I mean, every time I've talked to him, keeps low key. A little bit different than Ricky Headley, who was the singing sheriff he replaced that had some issues that had to leave office. But Sheriff Long's a good guy.
Got a really good background. Does a really good job. I think they run a really good
Runs
organization.
a tight ship there. You don't hear a lot coming out of there. So was that it, Paul, or you just wanted to say hi?
No, I got a couple of questions for Sheriff too.
Go ahead.
Sheriff, I got a good friend of mine. His name is Tim. He lives down in West Tennessee. He was a former chief of security at the Whiteville CCA prison down there, and he left CCA back in 2002 and opened them a company that put in septic tank system. Anyway, make a long story short, he wants to get back into corrections. He wanted to get him some insurance, and he got a darn DUI back in 2005, misdemeanor DUI, and he was thinking of applying to the sheriff's department down that way. Would that hinder him in getting hired at misdemeanor DUI for that? And my last question to you, Sheriff, is I don't want to put you on the spot, but what's your take of the Apple and the FBI deal with unlocking the phone for the terrorists? And those are my two questions, buddy. Thank you.
All right, good questions. First, on your friend Tim, Paul, if he's going to put in to go back to work in the sheriff's office, any sheriff around the state, he'd have to have a waiver from TCI. I always find this interesting. In 2006, the legislature passed a law basically that raised the requirements to work in jails. Now, to be honest with you, George W. Bush couldn't work in the jail. If you're ever convicted of anything, 25 years ago, 40 years ago, the law was really far-reaching. It was a ridiculous law. So your friend would have to have a waiver from TCI because he was convicted. Corrections Institute, which is similar to post-commission in a way.
All right.
But they, at least they now have added this waiver program.
How do you get that, though? He has to go in and show, look, since 2005, perfect record.
The county that you apply for, the county, let's say it's Davidson, would have to ask to hire Nick Barris, even though he has these offenses, and the county has to lobby to get you approved to hire you. So if he wants to go to work there and tells this story, and we've done that. We've gone up and asked for waivers for people who were arrested for public intoxication 25 years ago and stuff like that. So it's not a no way, but you might want to ask him, to look into that as it relates to coming back. Obviously, I'm biased on the whole Apple thing. I mean, I'm willing to give up some privacy to secure the country, and I don't know anything about the technology on the telephone thing, but I think it's a little bit scary that we've got potential information in a device that's and my 2 cents would be this: I would give the phone to Apple and let Apple give me the information.
I wonder why they can't do that. I thought I see both sides of it.
Me too.
I really do. I really do.
Too.
I mean, some people it's cut and dry. Well, if there's info, you open. Now, I'm not so quick to give up on my civil liberties, but I think there's got to be a compromise. And I wonder what you just said there. Is it something where you would imagine the FBI just doesn't want to give up custody of this valuable piece of evidence to Apple, and they have to be with it, or why not just give it? Apple then should lift it, but they can keep the code.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a way to,
and I guess way to do it.
I would ask the FBI to ask specific questions. Let's just say on that phone there's other criminal activity that has nothing to do with security. Let's say it was drug use or whatever.
Right.
I don't think that's appropriate at all. But if you're talking about it, I think you should be able to subpoena the information out through Apple and say, we want you to go through. And again, it would be complicated. It's different. I don't think you should be able to do that. Unless what I think is, in my mind, this is some form of terrorism. And I think you got to kind of balance where is that line. On 9/11, the following day, the 12th, people are willing to loosen up on their civil liberty arguments.
I know. That's the thing. It never ceases to amaze me how when people are fearful. I mean, the Patriot Act, which I was not a fan of. And you may, and I see differently. I was not a fan of it. It's real easy because my belief is the moment a terrorist strikes and you are really to sacrifice your civil liberties in the name of security, the terrorists are winning because they're taking away the American way and your freedoms. And I have a real problem with that. I'm not saying we don't have security, but that doesn't mean you have to give up all your privacy. And don't give me this stuff, well, if you're not hiding anything, you shouldn't care if someone's looking at your cell phone. It's my stuff. You can't see it. We'll take a break. The number is 737-7587. Angela, Larry, Greg, Ronnie, and others. Stay there. We'll get to your calls right after this.